Hello Scorpio, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for June 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me because I will explore in much greater detail all the key influences and timings particularly specific for your sign. Now, as this month begins, we do still have a lot of energy in your sector of relating, and one of the most notable connections is between Jupiter, the planet of growth and traditionally of fortune, and the North Node. This could be really very helpful through the first 10 days of this month. But of course your rulers are Mars and Pluto, and they are going to be very significant this month, and I can't wait to share about that to you, not least that Venus is in an opposition with Pluto in the first 10 days of this month, which suggests a conversation could prove to be truly fated in that first third of the month. So please stay with me whilst I explore that and so much more. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, it's great to have you with me. This is very much a community, so please do feel that you can share any comments. I try to interact with each one, but please also click on or tap on the subscribe button. This means every time I drop a video you'll get an alert. Also, if you would like to get your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, totally free, you can sign up for your Sun or your Ascendant or both. The choice is yours. Please see the link below. And if you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and really embrace more serious astrology and the power of it and how it can influence your future so helpfully, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can provide for you your life roadmap report. This can help you to get a much more intimate understanding of the patterns that have impacted on your journey so far, but also how you can capitalize on your strength and avoid some of the challenges that may have repeated themselves. Also, my special package of 30% off, you can get your 12-month personal forecast, totally unique to you, which will give you searing insights for the months to come. If you don't know your time, my new solar package works in the same way, 30% off, the life roadmap and the forecast, but this is based on your sun. And if you enjoy sun sign astrology videos on YouTube, this is going to be something that you easily relate to, but can still give you some incredibly valuable insights. Please see the links below for more. So Scorpio, as you come into June, so the Sun is in the sign of Gemini, which is a sign that's airy, and of course it's very quick-witted, and it's mutable, so it's able to flex very rapidly, but it's also your 8th house, which is quite a lot in keeping with the energies of your sign. Deep, passionate, transformational. But that collective in the sign of Taurus, your opposite sign, suggests that whether it's relating to people, whether it's a partnership, whether it's to do with developing your boundaries, or whether it's to do with conveying a message, all of those have huge promise as you come into this month. But I mentioned in the introduction about Venus being in opposition to your ruler Pluto. And Pluto starts this month in house 4, your sector of home, emotion and family. And you may have done a lot of soul searching since the 23rd of March when it moved into that area. But of course now it is in retrograde, and on the 11th of this month it is going to invert back into the 3rd house of your situation, where it's going to be for the rest of this year, which is very much how we think on an everyday basis. Now, Venus is in house 9, the sign of Cancer. So what you're looking for there is truth, the truth of your relationships. House 9 is very much about a kind of higher purpose, but of course Venus can also be not just about relationships, it can be about money. So I feel that that's why a conversation is going to be so important. Venus is right at the end of Cancer, and Pluto just in Aquarius to begin with, but broadly in opposition with Venus, and then reverses back into Capricorn on the 11th. So they're basically face to face with one another within 3 degrees for the first third of this month. So the third ninth house axis that they go across is about our everyday ideas. The third house, our everyday interactions, can be to do with technology, our modes of transport. The ninth house is where we like to be more expansive, freer spirited, liberated in some ways. So I feel that some kind of exciting exchange can occur. Maybe you're going to be pulled towards someone because of the way they think or their belief system, or perhaps a job is going to be offered that's to do with travel or even going further afield, such as working overseas. But there's a real sense of excitement. But the key with Venus and Pluto influences, we always need to watch about what the motive is. Your motive, the other person's motive. Usually everything in life is based or predicated on some kind of need or fulfilling a service in some kind of way. But of course, affection and loyalty and sincere attraction can be part of that. But that electric connection is really at the heart of this month, along with that Jupiter node conjunction. So I feel that's why this first third of this month could be very, very significant for you. Now on the 4th, we do have a full moon, and this occurs in your second house, the sector of everyday money, self-worth and core values. But it's opposite the sun in the deep 8th house. How you feel about something in that instinctive way that's very unique to your sign is really something that could become much clearer over the following 2 weeks. Maybe something could be revealed, which once it's revealed may be a relief, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy to hear, just being really honest. Or you may need to find an even better and cuter way of dealing with the ins and outgoings in the financial context of your situation. But on the 5th, as Venus moves into the sign of Leo, this is pure show business. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's for you the most visible part of your situation, and it's where you can use all your charm and guile, particularly professionally, to great effect. But what makes this so unique is Venus is going to be in this location for 4 long months this year. Very rare, usually 28 days through each sign, because of a retrograde lasting 44 days. Beginning on the 23rd of July, we have an extended influence from Venus. So Venus can be about presentation, it can be about understanding trends, it can be about money, and the 10th house can definitely be about goals and ambitions. And because your traditional ruler Mars is already here, providing a warm welcome, this absolutely supercharges your ability to draw goodness to you, but particularly in terms of your professional hopes. Now the two are going to align with one another almost exactly at the end of this month, so that could coincide with a key stroke of fortune. But also on the 11th, Mercury joins up with the sun in your 8th house. Mercury in the 8th house is not really interested in the platitudes that people have been expressing. It wants to know what they really mean. Who does that sound like? Yes, you. So in other words, Mercury has an opportunity to dive deep, explore what the true mechanisms that are being triggered are about, what people are really saying, even if they actually utter completely different a different set of words. So it's the subtext, if you like. But on the 11th, your modern ruler does invert back into Capricorn, and by the 3rd week of this month it is in a quincunx with the sun. But I'll revisit that shortly, because on the 17th, Saturn, which is in your sector of personal expression, creativity, joys, children, and most people would say Saturn's got nothing to do with any of those areas. Well, okay, I take their point. So maybe you're being asked to take those areas a lot more seriously, because Saturn rewards application and determination, but it doesn't necessarily make it easy. So with Saturn going into a retrograde through to the 4th of November, if you have got a romantic relationship which you're not totally in tune with, it's not quite working for you, the fact that Saturn goes retrograde in this area does suggest that you will go through a lot of soul searching. Doesn't mean to say the tie will end. That's up to you, not the stars and not the planets. The 18th, however, sees a new moon in your 8th house, but this does clash with Neptune. So if you've been attracted to somebody who you're finding very evocative, but you don't really seem to know what they're truly about, it's like very mysterious, or perhaps very evasive, you're not really finding out in a solid way where you stand, that's not going to be acceptable to you. So even though it's a new moon, I feel it's a new moon that has got a cautionary notice attached to it. So, be sure that you're absolutely clear on where you stand on things. But the 21st is wonderful, because then the Sun returns to your sister water sign of Cancer for the first time in 11 months and the first time for 12 months to this exact position, and we have the summer solstice, the beginning of cardinal quadrant 2. Western tropical astrology is predicated on the 4 seasons, so we get 4 cardinal quadrants. This is the second of the year, and for you this is very much about travel, higher education, philosophy, enjoying culture, being freer. If you're someone who really likes to expand your horizons, the next 13 weeks can be truly exciting, but there's a catch, because this does forge a really awkward angle to your modern ruler of Pluto. So you have to be conscious of the fact that the 9th house energy is about very much being a free spirit. If we think of Pluto on the cusp of Aquarius, that's the 4th house, that's your emotions. The 3rd house, even though it's at the end of the 3rd house, is very much about how we think on an everyday basis. So in simple terms, it's better to think of that aspect as being in house 4. So as much as you want to be a free spirit, how does that play into your needs for security? I think that's the thing to think of in the following 13 weeks. Mercury, however, joins up with the Sun on the 28th in house 9. So if you're wanting to make those travel plans or actually venture off, this is a fine time to do it. And also, the Sun forges a fantastic link with Jupiter towards the end of the month, and you could meet someone who you really find to be gripping company, but it could be for your professional situation, or you may be drawn towards someone from a different age group to you. Don't be confined by convention. When we've got Jupiter in the mix in your 7th house of relating, do stay resolutely open-minded. But also the Sun and Jupiter forge a great link to Saturn. In fact, Jupiter and Saturn are in touch with each other in a sextile all through this month. Jupiter is about growth, Saturn can be about restraint or restriction or even limitation. So the fact that they're within 3 degrees but exact in a sextile on the 19th in a really good way proves that Saturn being in your 5th house doesn't necessarily have to be all bad. So a relationship that's working for you can really get more rooted and more established. A relationship that isn't working for you can certainly get challenged in the last 10 days of this month, because Mars and Uranus are in one heck of a standoff. And if that happens, I think it could be because you feel someone's trying to be too controlling or limiting the more free-spirited side of your nature. And essentially, although there is all this 8th house energy at the start of the month through the Sun and then Mercury, which you really can recognise, it's very much part of who you are. You always dive in deep and transforming at some level. I feel that there is opportunities to have some very constructive interactions with people, and with Venus and Mars in the mix, somehow or another, people are going to, or a lot more people are going to find out about your very special qualities and gifts this month, and you're going to end up in the limelight, even if it's not necessarily what you seek or you are expecting. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, comment, or subscribe.